meditation for peace in the Middle East and in solidarity with our Muslim and Jewish brothers. All of us, people of the book, we greet one another. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Peace be upon you.
And upon you, peace.
Shalom.
Alaikum shalom.
As most of you know, I'm Reverend Vicki Elder, and it's my joy and honor on this Veterans Day weekend where we honor all vets. Could we have all the veterans in the rooms please stand? We give thanks for your service. And we welcome you to Unity of Monterey Bay, a beloved community co-created with love and intention that welcomes all people, all races, ages, cultures, ethnic backgrounds, economic circumstances, nationalities, and religions. Whatever your immigration status, sexual orientation, gender identity, family configuration, and/or abilities. Whether you're here with us in person or joining us virtually, we know that love knows no boundaries. We are one in spirit. As a purpose-driven church, Unity of Monterey Bay is an inclusive spiritual community committed to co-creating an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just, and compassionate human presence on this planet. We celebrate our oneness and honor the God of each of our understanding, affirming the innate good and divine essence within each and every individual. Would you please join me in our statement of faith? There is only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good, expressing as infinite God beyond us, intimate God beside us, inner God between us, divine love in action. And as we allow this knowing to deepen within our souls and serve to awaken us into enlightenment for the benefit of all living beings, we join in prayer this morning, acknowledging all of our complex and difficult feelings from this past week, as well as remembering and leaning into our faith with this slightly adapted prayer from the Crone's Cottage. It's when the earth shakes and foundations crumble that our light is called to rise up. It's when everything falls away and shakes us to the core and awakens all of our hidden ghosts that we dig deeper to find once inaccessible strength. It's in times when division is fierce that we must reach for each other and hold each other much, much tighter. Do not fall away now. Our light is being summoned. This is the time to rise. Our integrity is being tested that it may stand more tall. When everything collapses, we must find within us that which is indomitable. Let us rise and find the strength in our hearts. Rise and find the strength in each other. Let us burn through our devastation and make it our fuel. Let us bring forth our light. Now is not the time to be afraid of the dark. And so it is. And in this consciousness, please join me in affirming, thank you, God, for this most amazing day. Miracle follows miracle, and wonders never cease. And now, as we do every week, it's a time that we celebrate our children, those in our spiritual community and in our families and in the larger community that we live in. In fact, all the children of the world, as well as that inner child within each of us. We hold them in our hearts and we see them protected and resilient, creative and evolving, joyous and loved as we join in our heartfelt blessing. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are.
This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine.
So now let's all take a deep breath in and let it out with an audible sigh. As we center ourselves to embrace this blissful interconnection with Spirit and invite the chime to call us into the sacred space within. We ring the chime 4 times to call in the 4 directions and remind us of our interconnection with all of creation and with the sacred circle of life. As we feel it resonate through our very beings, we follow its call into this now present moment within. Continuing to focus on our breath, with each inhale, we open our hearts and minds. We envision our breath reaching every cell of our being. And with each exhale, we see all barriers and obstacles dissolving into this divine flow. Again, as we inhale, we expand the spaciousness within us. We move beyond the limitations and boundaries of our bodies. And as we exhale, we ground ourselves deep within Mother Earth and into our oneness with the universe. Finally, we breathe our awareness into the highest expression of love, light, joy, and peace we can imagine, as we experience a transforming wave of gratitude. And with a fullness of heart, we say yes to it all, embracing, claiming, and knowing the divine Christ Spirit expressing in, through, and as us. And with a final exhale, we say thank you, God. Now fully centered and transformed by the power of Spirit, we enter into our lesson and meditation time with today's daily word.
We read from today's daily word, shared with permission of Unity, publisher of Daily Word, that can also be found at dailyword.com. And the word is freedom. I invite you to allow my words to be your words. The Christ within is my source of freedom. Freedom is my spiritual birthright. I live my freedom when I speak my mind, pursue my dreams, and live with dignity and self-respect. It means I am self-directed, and I use my spiritual gifts of understanding, faith, love, and strength to guide my decisions and actions. As I do, I feel free. I do what I can to support freedom for myself and others. I honor and give thanks for all those whose courage and dedication in service have helped build and to sustain a world where all people can know true freedom. In prayer, I envision a harmonious human community that assures everyone's basic needs are met, respects differing viewpoints, and celebrates the unique expression of God that each person is. And from the scriptures, as servants of God, live as free people, yet do not use your freedom as a pretext for evil. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 16.
I am here for the greater good of all, greater good of all, greater good of all. I am here for the greater good of all, greater good of all. You are here for the greater good of all,
In witness to the wisdom of the many paths to the sacred, we read from 3 sacred traditions on this morning's topic, making space for our feelings. From Sufism, that hurt we embrace becomes joy. Call it to your arms where it can change. From Judaism, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. And from Christianity, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30.
There is sadness, there is an aching. Don't try to erase it, embrace it. There is beauty, there is joy. Don't try to retain it, radiate it. We see the pieces and we forget that there is a wholeness. That's what we are. There is anger, there is anxiety. Don't try to erase it, embrace it. There is laughter, there is love. Don't try to retain it, radiate it. We see the pieces and we forget that there is a wholeness. That's what we are. There is jealousy, there is loneliness. Don't try to erase it, embrace it. There is compassion, there is peace. Don't try to retain it, radiate it. We see the pieces and we forget that there is a wholeness. That's what we are. Embrace it, radiate it, embrace it.
Good morning. The first thing we're going to do this morning is we are going to take a deep breath in, hold it for just a second, and then sigh it out. Ready? Everybody together. We're going to do one more, and I want you to sigh it out with sound. Ready? All right. Next thing is I want some of you to give me a one-word feeling. that you are having or that you have been having this past week? One word. Cindy. Shock. Okay. Say that again. Resigned. I'm not, okay. Fear. Sadness, okay. Disillusion. Love. Larry just radiates love all the time. Any other feeling words? Joyousness. Who said that? You. Awesome. Great. Hope. Blessed. Okay. So as you can see, our feelings run the full spectrum, right? We're all over. So I think it's pretty clear that regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, this past week has been an emotional roller coaster, maybe the past few months really, but especially the past week. It's been stressful, and it's been upsetting for many, and it's been exhausting. And our bodies and our minds and our hearts are worn out from all of it. And the angry rhetoric and the threats and the divisiveness and all of that of the past many months, election campaigns are never really pretty, you know, it gets kind of nasty. I think all of that has taken a toll on us. And again, irrespective of who you voted for, we cannot deny that the result of this election has left many, many people in a state of disappointment, disillusionment, and despair. For many people, the outcome of this election is a very serious matter, a life and death matter for some people. The results of the election have some people asking themselves questions or asking others questions like, will I continue to be able to marry the person I love? Will I be able to get reproductive care and have autonomy over my own body? Will I be deported and separated from my family? Will I lose the Social Security that I depend on to live? Will I lose my health care? Will I be safe to be who I truly am at work, in public, and on the street? Others of us may wonder things like, will we lose our freedoms? Will we lose our rights? Will we lose access to the resources we need? Will our democracy survive? Will our country survive? What will happen to the fight against climate change? What will happen to our planet? Will life go on as we've known it? These fears are real, and the uncertainty is real. That sort of unknown of not knowing what's going to happen looms over us. We don't know. My mom is a Buddhist, and she said to me on the phone, yeah, I know, but she said, you know what? This is the Buddhist way. We don't know. Well, that drives me a little nuts, you know. But she's right. And so I'm trying to cultivate that a little bit. We don't know. We know what we think the threats are, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how things will change. We don't know what life is going to look like in the future. It is no wonder that our poor bodies are so tired, our nervous system so stressed out, our minds racing and confused. This is grief. For many people, grief. There's a sense of sorrow and loss. But it's not the usual grief that we feel like when someone we love dies. That kind of grief is very clear and concrete. We know exactly what has been lost. This type of grief is unclear. It's sort of nebulous, right? It's like a free-floating kind of grief where we aren't exactly sure what has been lost, but we feel loss. And this type of grief apparently has a name. It's called ambiguous loss. Now, the term ambiguous loss was coined by a woman named Pauline Boss, an emeritus professor at the University of Minnesota and a longtime psychotherapist. And she coined this term when she was working in the 1970s with the wives of soldiers missing in action. She came up with this term ambiguous loss to describe what these women felt who didn't know for sure what had happened to their husbands. More recently, she has used the term to describe the kind of grief that many experienced during the COVID pandemic. Again, a sense of loss, but not exactly sure what it is that has been lost. Boss explains that grief is the response we have to losing something that we're attached to. Okay? And so we can experience grief for things that are both clear and unclear. So when we lose something tangible, like a loved one or a job or money, we know what we have lost. And others can acknowledge our loss. Oh, I'm sorry you lost your job. I'm sorry for the loss of your husband. But with ambiguous loss, we're not sure what we have lost. We only know that we feel grief. Now, Boss says that this type of ambiguous loss is the kind of grief that many people may be experiencing now after the election. Many folks feel like we're in the midst of something we don't like, we weren't expecting, and that happened suddenly. And she says that the grief that many people are feeling can manifest as a whole, just like any other kind of grief, as a whole range of feelings that you all just named right now. Anger, sadness, sorrow, despair, anxiety, even panic. Here's the important thing. She says, those feelings are completely normal. This is a normal response to grief. And she says it's so important that we acknowledge our feelings and that we normalize those feelings. So in addition to all the feelings that we're having, we don't want to add on top, I shouldn't be feeling this. Okay? So whatever you are experiencing today, it is normal. She says that we need to be patient with ourselves and our feelings. We need to acknowledge and accept our feelings of loss. And we need to understand that really there is no closure to grief. Just like when someone dies, we don't ever really get over it, right? We just learn to live with it. So Boss says that it's the same with this. There's no closure. She recommends that it can help us to be patient with ourselves and our feelings, and we can detail what we feel we have lost, even writing it down. If those of you who journal or like to write things down, making a list of what we feel we have lost. And she says some people are experiencing the loss of hopes and dreams, of what they thought would happen if the election had gone the way they wanted it to. There's a loss of certainty in the future, a loss of trust in the world as a safe place, a loss of feeling like we have autonomy over our own bodies. Some people are experiencing the loss of connections or friendships or even family relationships with people who believe differently or voted differently. So again, this kind of grief is different than other kinds like the death of a loved one because there's no death certificate, there's no funeral, there's no rituals of support and comfort, no sympathy cards. We're simply stuck with this sense of loss. There's no resolution to it, and she calls this frozen grief. So because there's no tangible thing that we can pin this grief on, it can be more difficult to process because we're not sure exactly what we're grieving. And it can become frozen because we're trying to resolve something that is not resolvable, something that is unclear and unknown. So it can be helpful for us just to know that, right? Just to know that this is not a resolvable grief and that the feelings of grief that we are having are normal. And she recommends that we try not to be afraid of our feelings. Try not to get away from our feelings. and not worry about trying to resolve them, because the most current research on grief shows that there really is no resolving feelings of loss. There's no closure for grief. We get through it by facing it, feeling it, accepting it, and then learning to live with it. So as we go through all these different emotions in the wake of this past week's election, we need to allow space for our feelings to be acknowledged and felt. That's the way through this. And we need to do that both for ourselves and for one another. Now, you might say, but we're a spiritual community. Aren't we supposed to be focusing on our faith? Aren't we supposed to trust in God and know that all things are in divine order? Aren't we supposed to rely on our spiritual principles? Well, of course, all those things are true. But those things are not a substitute for feeling our feelings. Those things are not meant to be layered over our grief as a salve to numb our pain. See, spirituality is not meant to take away our pain. Rather, it is meant to give us the courage to experience our pain and to come together in holding space for our pain, for one another. Layering spiritual platitudes over the reality of what is happening is spiritual bypassing. It's also sometimes called toxic positivity. It's toxic because it's too soon. It's too soon. Those things are true, and we will pick those things up when we're ready. Right now, we're in our feelings. The role of spirituality and spiritual community is to help us to bravely face what is happening. And yes, there is spiritual principle there, because we can do that because we know who we are. We know who God is. We know the truth of God's love and our own divine nature. But spiritual principles don't erase pain and negativity. Rather, they strengthen us to face our pain head on. And in facing our pain, we find our strength. We cannot heal what we won't feel. And we cannot process and release what we have not acknowledged. So we can't just skip over the grief and go straight to spiritual principles. We need to find the courage to feel our feelings and to mourn our collective loss of what we thought, what we hoped our nation was. To acknowledge the deep divisions that exist in our country before we can move forward to do the work that ought to be done by us. So since Boss recommends that we list and face our losses in order to be able to process them, and since I'm up here and I have a microphone, I'm going to go first and I'm going to model this. I'm going to list some of what I'm feeling and have been feeling in the wake of this past week and the election results. You may relate to some of them, you may feel some of the same ones, or you may feel other ones. These are mine. So first of all, I'm feeling the loss of the hope of electing the first woman president of the United States. As a woman, I was excited about having a woman as our president. I perceived, and also, I'm married to a Mexican, and Mexico is very close to my heart. They elected a woman president this year. I was really hoping I could say that we did it this year too. I perceived that electing a woman president would indicate progress. It would indicate that we have come a long way, baby. Remember that? That we have gained more equality between the sexes. That a young girl growing up today, as they always say, could know that she could become president of the United States. That's a loss. And this grief is made even more poignant because I went through the same exact thing in 2016. I remember clearly the night of that election, sitting on my couch with a friend, and we had our Martinellis, because I don't drink, we had our Martinellis there ready to toast the first woman president of the United States. And when that didn't happen, we were devastated. How can you lose something you never even had? That's what this ambiguous loss is about. It's the loss of what we hoped for. And it hurts. As a woman, it hurts. Because it makes me feel like our country is still not ready, willing, or able to elect a woman to the presidency, no matter how qualified, experienced, educated, smart, and articulate she is. And as a woman, that hurts. I'm also feeling the loss of the sense of the United States being this great nation that the whole rest of the world looks up to. She's the dumbest person. Probably wouldn't be happy here. I need water. Okay, I don't care. I'm going to say this, okay? I am grieving the loss of the sense that the United States is this awesome, amazing nation that the whole rest of the world looks up to. This is the message I've been fed my whole life. At school, in the media, on the news, in my family, that we are not just, don't get me wrong, I love my country. Okay, but I have heard my whole life that we are the best nation on earth. And by the way, I have the biggest crowd right now of any minister anywhere in the whole United States. Right here. I'm just saying. So I've heard that my whole life. That the rest of the world admires us, envies us, wants to be us. And I know now that that is no longer true. I've spoken with people from other countries. It's not true. But we've been fed that, right? And so I'm grieving that. I'm also grieving the sense of us being this united nation. Another thing I was taught my whole life. That we are this melting pot where we're all different and yet we respect one another's differences. I guess I always knew we were divided, but I didn't know how deeply divided we were. And it hurts to have revealed to me that we aren't this perfect utopian democratic nation. It hurts to realize that the American dream that we love to talk so much about has really only ever been available to certain people, to certain sectors of the society. And that there are many, many folks for whom that dream has never been a possibility. That have been disenfranchised from that dream, and people that have lived on the margins for generations. And then again, I feel the loss of that idealized belief that even though we all have these different views and beliefs, that we actually care about one another. That we actually want to help one another. It hurts to realize that so many people in our country don't seem to really care what happens to black people, brown people, gay people, trans people, to immigrants, to refugees, to disabled people, to the elderly, to the poor. That so many people are more concerned with amassing their own wealth than with caring for those whom Jesus called the least of these. It hurts that there is still so much internalized, systematized, and institutionalized hatred and distrust of women in this country that we cannot be trusted with the autonomy over our own bodies. It hurts to know that racism is alive and well in this country. That hurts, man, you know? And it's personal for me. I have a half Mexican son. It's personal. It hurts to realize that after the civil rights movement and the Black Lives Matter movement and all the work that has been done, that black and brown people are still second-class citizens in this nation in so many ways. And it hurts to realize that many people seem to be okay with living in a society where some people get richer and richer and richer, while many, many others cannot afford to heat their homes or pay their rent or feed their families. It hurts. And as I said in my newsletter, the collective unveiling of our national shadow is a painful process. There is no shortcut. There is no way to circumvent what is being revealed to us as a nation, as a people. Our hurting nation must face the pain of the reality of our deep divisions, of our distrust of one another, and of our radically different worldviews. Now, I borrowed the title for this talk, First the Pain, Then the Rising, from Glennon Doyle, who's an author, speaker, podcaster, and activist. She's written books like Carry On Warrior and Love Warrior. She's married to the soccer star Abby Wambach, and she has a hugely successful podcast called We Can Do Hard Things. In her Oprah Super Soul session, which again was called First the Pain, Then the Rising, she begins by asking this question: how would our lives and our relationships and our world transform if we stopped being so afraid of pain? What if we just once and for all decided that we were strong enough for the pain in our lives, so instead of hiding from it, we just rushed straight toward it and allowed our pain to become our power? Glennon describes a lifetime of running from all of the feelings that were painful and scary to her, okay, and using everything she could, drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, sex, shopping, food, to get away from those feelings. She felt the only feelings she was allowed to have were the ones that she saw sanctioned by our society, what she calls happy, shiny feelings. So when she had other feelings, she thought there was something wrong with her. But one day, after she'd been running from her feelings for years and years, she finally surrendered. She was in a yoga class, lying on her mat, and somehow she managed to stay still long enough for her feelings to finally catch up to her. And it all came crashing down on her. Her loneliness, her despair, her shame, her anger. And for the first time in her life, instead of running away, she just lay there and allowed the feelings to come. She surrendered to her feelings and felt them for the first time, really felt them. Well, guess what? What she ultimately found was that that loneliness and fear and pain that she thought was going to kill her ended up transforming her. Our feelings are transformative. They carry information. They carry information about what is really happening. Information about who we truly are and what we truly want. Information about what our purpose is, what matters most to us. Now, Glennon says that we shouldn't run away from what breaks our hearts, because she says when we find that thing that breaks our hearts, really breaks our hearts, whether that's animal cruelty or bullying of trans youth or the destruction of the environment or the threat of nuclear war or women losing their reproductive rights or seniors losing their Social Security or people going without health care or immigrants being deported, that thing that most breaks our hearts, that is our purpose. That is where we need to work. That is where we will find the passion and the strength to truly make a difference. Our pain shows us where to go. And when we move toward our pain instead of running away from it and allow our hearts to be broken open, we can find what our true purpose is and find the strength to follow it. She says we need to stop fearing our pain and rather than run away from it, rush toward it. And if we do that, then our pain becomes our power. Now, collectively, as a nation, it is no different. It is no different. As a nation, we need to stop and allow our national pain to catch up with us long enough to see what it has come to teach us and to see how it can transform us. And then, when we've taken the time and been courageous enough to sit with our national pain and to learn everything it has to teach us, then we can begin to heal and work toward change. As Glennon says, our collective pain can become our collective power. First the pain, then the rising. Now, I want to make sure you understand that when I say we need to feel our feelings, I don't mean that we need to feel them all alone. I need more water. I don't mean that we need to feel them all alone. This is work that we need to undertake as part of a community. We need to create and hold space where it is safe for us to feel our feelings and where we support one another in those feelings. And in our spiritual community, one way that we support one another is by reminding each other every time we forget, which is about 100 times a day for me, of the truth of our divinity and the truth of God's love. We know that we are strong enough to feel our feelings because we affirm and believe that no matter what is going on in the world, we are eternally one with God and with one another. That we are deeply, deeply loved by Spirit, and that we are always being held in divine, loving presence. I also don't mean that we need to be in our feelings 24/7. Yes, we need to feel our feelings, but we also need to get on with life. And that includes experiencing joy. It's not an either or. We can feel our pain and sadness, and we can also experience joy. Because as we showed here at the beginning, we humans are capable of a full spectrum of emotions, even on the same day. So while we need to feel our feelings and experience what's going on, we don't need to wallow in them. We need to take breaks from our feelings, from the heaviness, and have fun. We need to get out in nature and experience our connection with God through creation. We need to break bread with one another and enjoy good food and conversation and company. We need to practice radical self-care right now. I love that thing that says you're basically a house plant with feelings, right? So we need to get enough sunlight, enough water, eat healthy food, get enough sleep, get fresh air and exercise, hold our cats, play with our dogs, meditate, read non-political, maybe even non-spiritual fiction, something for fun, listen to music, all of those things that nourish us and sustain us and that allow us to keep goodness and hope alive. I find that in times of great stress, the concept of chop wood, carry water is a powerful one for me. This is a Zen Buddhist proverb that says, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So what this means to me is that we are going to do and can do all this big work of feeling our feelings, of grieving our loss, of facing our collective shadow, but we also need to do life. We need to make dinner, wash the dishes, walk the dog, do the laundry. When we feel so out of control, it can really help calm us and ground us to focus some time on the things that we can control. And we need to turn to nature for comfort as well. When all of our human-made things seem to be going haywire, we can find comfort and strength in the fact that nature is still naturing. Life is still lifing. The birds are still singing, and the sun is shining, and right now the bay is full of stinky sardines, and the sea lions and the seabirds are out there having a big feast and making a lot of noise about it. Nature is steady and dependable. And we can find comfort in being among trees that have lived for hundreds of years and have seen it all. And they are still standing. And they are still strong through all of it. I particularly enjoy spending time in nature and contemplating the incredible fact that all of it just keeps going irrespective of what's going on with me and what I'm going through. And that gives me perspective. Outside of U.S. politics and the presidential election, you go to the frog pond and they're all doing their thing. They have their own lives. That gives me comfort that the sun still rises and sets, and that squirrels are gathering nuts for the winter, and that trees and plants and animals and birds and insects are preparing for the coming cold. And we can take comfort in the fact that we are all part of that too. Okay, we're not separate from nature. Going and spending time in nature can remind us of our true place in the family of things. The poet Wendell Berry offered a similar idea when in 1968 he wrote these words. In the dark of the moon, in flying snow, in the dead of winter, war spreading, families dying, the world in danger, I walk the rocky hillside sowing clover. Life goes on. And we, as a community, will continue to walk the rocky hillside sowing clover, and sowing love, and sowing peace, and sowing justice, and sowing inclusiveness, and sowing compassion, and sowing kindness, and sowing joy. We will continue the work that we have been called to do as a spiritual community, to be the hands and heart of God on earth, to invite all people to know God's love, and to be that love of God in action. And individually, after we have grieved and held in tenderness our broken hearts, after we've acknowledged our pain, run straight to it, felt it, and allowed it to be transformed into energy and power, we will continue the work of discovering what is ours to do. We can do this. First the pain, then the rising.
Spirit within, carry me. Spirit within, carry me home. Spirit within, carry me home to the one. Spirit within, carry me.
invite you to get comfortable now. Begin to bring an awareness into your body so that you can feel where your body is in space. And we're going to do those couple of deep breaths together again. We're going to breathe in deep, hold for a second at the top, and then sigh it out. So breathe in deeply and sigh it out. And one more. Breathe in deeply and sigh it out. Now you can allow your breathing to return to its natural rhythm, but be mindful of breathing deeper and slower than you normally would. We can calm that nervous system down very quickly by breathing deep into our belly, inhaling fully and exhaling fully. Begin to notice the weight of your body resting on the pew, the places where your body makes contact, your feet resting gently on the floor, and your hands softly resting in your lap. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply, breathing in and breathing out. And now I want you to imagine that a bright light is coming down from above, coming right down into the top of your head, what they call the crown chakra. This is the light and love of spirit, of wisdom, of discernment, of knowledge, of love. See that light flowing in through the top of your head. See it flowing down through your body, out through your arms and hands and fingers, down through your torso, through your hips and your legs and your feet and your toes. Let that flow. And now I want you to imagine that you have roots coming down from what's ironically called your root chakra, your pelvis, your hips. Seeing roots going deep down into the earth, also flowing out the bottoms of your feet. Roots going deep, deep, deep down into the earth, through all the layers of the earth's crust, into that magnetic core. Tether yourself there, in that core. You are connected to the earth. And the earth rushes in to fill you with its energy. So feeling that energy of earth, which is grounding and centering and calming and peaceful. Feeling it come up through your feet, up through your legs, rushing up through your body, filling you with that gravitational pull, that calm. Up through your body and out your arms and out the top of your head. So now you are getting the energy from up above. You are getting the earth's grounding energy from below. And you are held. Powerfully held. Centered. Grounded. And now I want you to call to mind a couple of the more troubling feelings you've been having the last week. Fear, anxiety, panic, deep sorrow. Whichever ones are the most difficult for you, call those to mind. Feel where they are in your body. Do you feel it in your throat area, in the pit of your belly, in your solar plexus? Feel those feelings. And now send those feelings down into the earth. Down your legs, out your feet, down those roots, that strong tether that is going all the way to the center of the earth. Send those feelings down through the earth where they can be transformed. The earth can receive our feelings and can transform them into power that we can use. Take another deep breath in. Hold for a second and sigh it out. One more deep breath in, and on the exhale, I want you to let go of everything that you are holding right now. So breathing in, and now sigh it out. Let it all go. Let it all melt down into the earth, where it is received and transformed. You are whole. You are safe. You are powerful. You are never separate from the love of God, from the love of this universe. Rest in that love.
Spirit within, carry me. Spirit within, carry me home. Spirit within, carry me home to the one. Spirit within, carry me. Spirit within, carry me home. Spirit within.
Filled with gratitude. And we say, thank you, God, for illuminating my mind and filling me with wisdom. And thank you, Mother Earth, for grounding me and holding me safe. Knowing that we can return to these feelings anytime we want.
Is the collective consciousness and commitment of all of us who give of our time, treasure, and talent in order to sustain the spiritual community that is dedicated to transforming lives. We know that prosperity is a state of mind that finds blessings in every situation and abundance in joyous generosity. We transform all appearances of fear or into faith-filled peace of mind by shifting our attention to thoughts of gratitude for the abundance of God's good in our lives. As the ushers please come forward, I invite you to think of something specific that you're grateful for in this now moment. I want to thank you, Michelle, for today's lesson, for your vulnerability and breaking yourself open and sharing with all of us. Thank you. Or your credit card in the sacred grounds. And we ask that everyone join in faith and gratitude as we pass the offering baskets this morning by holding and blessing it as it passes to you. And now, please join me in our offertory blessing. I am an open channel for God's infinite good. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies everything I give and everything I receive, I am both blessed and a blessing. Thank you, God.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One loving family sharing one son. I choose love. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are all part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us, let be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
So it is with great joy that we bless and give thanks for these gifts and offerings that demonstrate our collective commitment to the spiritual work of love and transformation in our lives and in our world. We dedicate this offering, our lives, and this ministry to more fully expressing the Christ light that is the truth of our being, and inviting all people to know God's love. Finally, knowing that one with God all things are possible, we affirm together that the good is now, the rest is blessed, and the best is yet to be in our lifetime. Gently. For our beautiful music today, we want to thank Karen Taylor Good, Sue Riley, Sue Young, Reverends Rory Elder and Bodie Ross Campbell, David Roth, and Daniel Namod. And for our awesome music team, today led by Sue, with John on drums and Robin and Marianne singing. Okay, so check your e-blast for things that are coming up. Is it already time for this? My goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay. So you can dedicate a poinsettia in honor of someone, and it's $20, and you can sign up for that in the sacred grounds. Our Thanksgiving feast is only 2 weeks from today, right? One of my favorite events all year long. Sign up in the sacred grounds with what you're going to bring, just so we make sure that all things are covered. And we also in the general sign up, so we know how many people attend. Okay, yeah, so we can, so sign up. Wait, say that again. Sign up in the general sign up that you're coming. And then sign up for what you're going to bring. We provide turkeys and pies and, okay, it's all on there. All right. Looking forward to that. Make sure you don't miss that one. What is this? COPA fundraiser. So Monterey County gives. I love this. I don't know how many years I've done it now, at least 2. This has made my end of year giving so easy. I just go to Monterey County Gives, and COPA is on there, and you can donate the amount that you want to almost any local charity that you can think of is on there. And it's made it so easy. You just go through and click on the ones you want to donate to and the amount, and
It's matched.
it's matched.
So it's more,
So
yeah,
it's
your
much
gift
better
grows.
than sending in a check.
Right.
Much better than sending in a check because it's matched. So that is beginning to happen already. Okay, December 1st, after the service, we're going to have a Food for Body and Soul, which means potluck and discussion, discussing how COPA fits into our UMB mission.
And also just, we changed it. We got that conversation about the little church and then how that fits in.
Is she coming through the thing?
Mission.
A conversation about COPA and how it fits in with our church mission, and also the role of church in the coming months and years. Okay, and finally, there is a handout by the door that has all of your holiday dates, so you can make sure to get those on your calendar. I just can't believe it's all coming so quickly. But here we are. Okay, so as we bring our service to a close this morning, we are so grateful that you have joined us, whether you're here in person, you're watching us on Facebook Live, or tuning in later on our YouTube channel. We're just happy that you spent this time with us. We hope we made you feel at home in our Unity of Monterey Bay community, and we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Our chaplain on duty today is Larry Sanks, is available to pray with you after the service. So we give thanks for his service, as well as all of our chaplains who are always praying over the prayer requests that come into the box and through our website and through other means, always holding the high watch for our community. With all of that, we are ready to form our closing circle for our prayer for protection.
Move up. Move up.
So as we're forming our circle, I'm happy that you are all here. I'm disappointed some folks that didn't come today, because I was so glad to come and be here with you all today. Because I have been in, the same turmoil, anxiety, all of the things as many of you. And I was so glad that I got to come and be with my spiritual community. So let's hold our spiritual community in our hearts and in this circle of prayer. Seeing us. Yeah. Thank you, Leon Panetta. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, so we just see our community strengthened, and we see the bonds between us strengthened, and we see our community being a beacon of love and hope, where we always keep hope alive, and where we are guided by Spirit to know what is ours to do. So holding our beloved community and all of its members far and wide, everyone on our newsletter list, anyone that is even remotely connected with us, holding them in our heart as we join in our prayer for protection. The light
And
of
God surrounds us. I am light.
The
The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is.